hereby arrest you for crimes against the sacred timeline.
Doing the old recap, I see. Come on, I don't need a previously on for a show that last aired over a year ago? Well, I stand corrected. Let's see here. We've got Loki looking handsome in a shirt and tie and thinking, damn, I'm hot, while looking at holograms of himself. Yeah, that checks out. Then we have Loki looking handsome in a shirt and tie while spitting some truth to Mobius. Yeah, I dig that. And finally, we have Loki looking handsome in a shirt and tie while hanging with the equally handsome leather-clad Lady Loki as Kang makes fun hand gestures. Great. Everything's exactly as I remember it, and I won't have any issues whatsoever understanding what's happening and why I should care. Ah, sudden Kang the concrete. Loki just exited the right of the frame to jump over the railing that was to his left, and I'll spend the next few decades thinking about what transpired the brief moment the camera wasn't on him. Sure, he's Asgardian, but that leap of faith was so easily survived, I'm wondering why he ever takes the stairs. Does this flying truck not have air brakes or reverse thrusters? Or what I'm trying to say is it's going too fast. You got hit by a Loki and then ran into a statue. You're not momentuming correctly. Also, I'm glad to see the Casey's unscathed, but with that kind of proximity to this window, I'd have expected him to be a glass cactus right about now. Also, the flying truck crashes into a different floor of the building that Loki needs to be on just in time for his plot-luck dinner.
Should be fine.
We actually heard the vehicle thud, but it's flying in the background here. Why is thud? We'll find out that these Varachronos veins are a problem for the temporal garment industry because of a lack of space-time infrastructure. This season's taking a deep dive into logistics. Exactly what we wanted from a show about the god of mischief.
He disappeared right in front of me.
Actually, he disappeared right behind you.
Can I help you with something, X5?
If you're wondering if this character was in season 1, I'm here to assure you that I'm wondering the same thing.
You know, the funny thing about jet skis, everyone thinks that it's a personal watercraft, and it's actually a brand, same way Kleenex is.
So, Kleenex is a brand of personal watercraft. The line really cleared it up for me. Thanks.
Mobius. I don't care.
Why'd you ask?
Technically, he did not ask for your fun facts regarding Kleenex brand jet skis, but he did ask.
This one here, is this on the sacred timeline?
To which a simple answer would have been yes. Indicting office culture by pretending everyone here is too dead inside to react to someone violently time traveling.
Mobius, I was just doing my job.
If you're wondering if this character was in season 1, I'm here to assure you that I am wondering the same thing. No one in production thought about Loki's staff lining up with Kang's mouth in this shot. Or did they?
Make it make sense.
Marvel's one line of instruction after making a new director complete orientation by watching the entirety of the MCU somehow makes it into the episode.
No!
Should I care that this guy is asleep? Because I don't. I might later because of some timey-wimey nonsense, but that would be a branched reality, meaning in this one, I still wouldn't care. Some guy appears out of thin air and not 30 seconds later, you're so bored with him that he can sneak up on you and steal your weapon? We're pruning frescoes now? What's next? Tapestries? Valances? Sconces? Where does it end?
It was a draw.
Both kicked each other through time doors simultaneously?
Mobius would be excellent at TVSins.
I need a Loki who remains. We need to address the fact that you keep disappearing.
But do you? We'll soon see Loki solving his present problems in the past, and even after that, no one stops to say, hey, wait a second, this is actually pretty useful. In this episode, the duration of Loki's time travel seems to be directly linked to however long the plot needs him to be in a given place. In this instance, he has a quick pop out and back just for the fun banter of it.
Pretty arrogant. It's like calling yourself last man standing.
Shots fired. Somewhere Tim Allen's calling his lawyers and grunting at them about trademark disputes. Smartest person in the show is toiling away in the obscurity of the basement. Cliché. But also, that person is being played by the revivified effervescence that is Ke Huy Quan. I take back all the sins everywhere all at once. If I wasn't sure it wouldn't break the Sinpearl loom, I guess I'll just have to settle for the one.
How long has it been? Could it be 3 or 4?
400 years.
Episode feels like the series realized the limitation of time not working like that here in the last season, so they decided to suddenly retcon centuries of time into this season that do indeed work like that here.
Is he talking to you in the past and you're just now remembering it?
Wow, that makes perfect sense. There's no flaw in that logic.
I don't know how to sin this. They're doing time travel bullshit while immediately acknowledging it's time travel bullshit. It's so self-aware of its bullshit that it's trying to put me out of work, and that makes me angry. And when I get angry, I start sinning.
First off, someone in the time you want to end up in would need a temporal aura extractor.
Oh, a whoosy what's a thingamadoodle. I know all about those.
Have you heard about how if you fall into a black hole, you turn into spaghetti?
No.
Good. The less you know about that, the better.
There are probably other things to know about that, like why is it spaghetti and not linguine or penne? But I doubt that would make him feel any worse about the whole affair.
Well, I guess you two are ready to go.
Loki's time slipping enables them to quickly solve the time slipping problem, dooming us to infinitely ponder how Loki's actions in the past have altered this timeline. Because time does work like that here now.
What's the quality of life with no skin?
Death in most cases and pain in all the others. Stop making me find out these things. Patrick Stewart isn't on the other side of this door in this scene.
The temporal loom is the heart of the TVA. It's where raw time is refined into physical timeline.
Time bullshit. No, really. It's obvious they created this thing just for this season, if not for just this episode. And I'm frustrated because the first time I heard this, I went, oh, that makes sense. Can't just have raw time going wherever it wants.
It looks like a disaster.
It is a disaster.
Okay, if you say so.
To fix Loki's time slipping, you'll go out there and launch the extractor, which will pull Loki from the time stream before I need to close the blast doors.
Well, that certainly was a contrived mess of random shit that they have to do to make Loki less time slippy and more time sticky.
This timer is synced to the loom.
I can now see that OB is going to be the cue of this double Loki situation.
You've got about an hour. You've got about 5 minutes.
Acknowledging that your ticking clocks are arbitrary.
If I don't make it back,
You'll make it back.
Right, but when I use this thing, I might not make it back.
It's so cute that Loki doesn't know he's the main character. Also, this pruning stick doesn't go with him, so his clothes shouldn't go with him either. I mean, and the ticking clock. Not just the clothes, but the ticking clock as well.
It's the future.
Chekhov's touching of dead skin cells.
How the hell am I gonna hoof it in this?
You got to.
Or what?
What do you mean, or what?
That kind of temporal energy will peel the skin right off you, and Mobius will lose all of his skin.
How many times does this man have to tell you you're going to be skinned alive? Sir, that is not hoofing it. That's barely even bumbling and a stumbling. I know everyone's running for their life, but I still would have tried a, yo, anyone got a time stick to some of the people running past. You're lost, Loki. Ask for directions.
Mobius, you have 30 seconds.
Since you like giving out ticking clocks, could you at least let me know how much longer my Hot Pockets have to go in the microwave? I desperately need a time stick to prune myself, but wait a second, is that a phone ringing? Man, that's so creepy. Let me slowly walk towards it.
There is nothing you can do for him. He's lost to time.
No, he's in the future. You not knowing where he is does not make him lost. Taking an elevator during an emergency. Puny God Loki shooting out of this time machine right now is a literal Deus Ex Mischifa Ex Machina. Hunter B-15 said she'd take care of General Dox, which apparently meant just standing back and being a bystander. With that logic in mind, I've taken care of so many things in my life. I have been getting done.
All this for Sylvie?
You mean the Time Variant who's killed scores of your colleagues and eluded capture so effectively that the TVA decided to enlist an alternative version of her to aid in her capture? Yeah, seems reasonable to me. Okay, Marvel, I've perused ramblings you've scrawled across these post-it notes, and I have found that I don't care.
I want to try everything.
After all the struggles she's been through in her life, episode puts Sylvie through the gastrointestinal effects of the 80s McDonald's menu.
What would you like?
I want to try everything.
Do you maybe want to try not opening with 1 minute and 45 seconds of previously ons and logos? Huh? Do ya? Do ya maybe want to try that? Because when you do it this way, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm sending it.
Thoughts?
Well, confusion firstly, because last we saw them, Loki'd been convenienced at high speed into Mobius, and now out of nowhere, we're in tuxes in London in the 70s. And I only enjoy one of those three things. Also, in case you confused it with London Asgard.
It's too safe. It's not a war zone. It's not an apocalypse.
Tell me you know nothing about 1970s London without actually telling me you know nothing about 1970s London.
We got a hit on a TemPad that belonged to Hunter X5 before it went dark.
Is information Mobius is apparently only sharing with Loki now. This means that Loki was told to wear a tux and walk through this time door and presumably did so without a single clarifying question. Yeah, that totally seems on brand.
Are the Bridget Bardot rumors true?
Ooh, Ron, you cannot ask me about that.
Not realizing that asking the questions you're not supposed to ask is the MO of every tabloid journalist ever. Also, tabloid journalism.
Will there be a Zaniac 2?
Speculating about a sequel before the initial movie has even left the theater. Everyone on the internet, stop it.
A sequel for the fans?
For the fans? Probably not. For bucket loads of profit based on name recognition? Most definitely.
Oh my God, it's Brad Wolf. Can I get your autograph?
Anything for... Hey!
Sure is handy that Mobius and Loki decided to travel separately from B-15 and that she decided to wait in this alley for X5. Surprise appearances that don't make sense are fun.
Hold it!
Loki does still have powers and stuff, right? Why is he letting Mobius do all the literal legwork instead of God of Mischiefing a trap for pure... Damn it, Loki, that is so not what I meant, and you know it. Also, I'm not the suit jacket being unbuttoned in this scene.
You still glad we're here?
I mean, not really. I actually wanted a season 2 for Moon Knight. They had a lady hippo god, people. Is Loki really giving chase on foot? What is he doing? Getting his steps in? Playing with his food? Time's of the essence here, so why isn't he just surrounding Brad with 20 naked Lokis? What? Don't act like that wouldn't stop you two. Also, does Brad really think he's going to outrun a god? I mean, he kind of does for a while, but he shouldn't have assumed that. Waiting until you're cornered to teleport away. And even then, only teleporting a few blocks instead of changing cities, countries, planets, timelines, or TV shows.
What is this?
That's a TemPad.
I'm pretty certain the writers didn't anticipate me associating the term TemPad with some sort of emergency short-term feminine hygiene product, but here we are, and you're welcome.
But he will talk once he's had time to marinate.
Making me marinate on the idea that I thought I'd been marinating my meat when I've actually been marinating it with a marinade so that it can marinate. And the knowledge that I'm not going to remember any of that the next time I use either of these words.
What about this?
Have OB check it out.
Suddenly OB is everyone's first option for troubleshooting, so why wasn't this the case last season? Where the f was he? You've been robbing us of Ki Hui Kwan as if he hadn't been cast yet.
Everything you need to know about this, I wrote about it in here.
Okay, but that's the manual for the OG TemPad, right? How is that manual going to help with a modified doodad?
Renslayer killed C20, attempted to kill Mobius, threw me in time jail, and tried to take over the TVA.
Previously on Last Time Obviously Lazy Recaps position.
Casey, tell them what you just told me.
Putting aside the fact that I don't remember who Casey even is, why didn't B-15 just relay his message? It's not like he says anything complicated. Or did you just want to make sure he'd be here to say something important about the TemPad?
X5 says it somehow blocks TVA tracking.
That's not what it does.
As I suspected, thank the writers for making sure a TemPad nerd was here to help. But I have to wonder how much time Loki and Mobius would have wasted fiddling with this thing before asking for help. Did they really think OB was the only TemPad whiz at the TVA?
Thank you.
Wait, why is Loki taking the TemPad? Why isn't he leaving it with live-action Rutherford to work on it? This holding cell is huge. You can fit like 50 people in here. And I hate that I think that's actually normal for a prison.
It's you. You're the problem.
It's him.
Hi.
He's the problem, Loki.
Stop trying to be a hero, man.
Is the god who successfully manipulated almost every member of the Avengers actually getting pissy about some guy named Brad? Is that what I'm watching right now?
It's really good.
Mobius and Loki have key time lime pie for this. Wait.
Tried to use the Mind Stone on Tony Stark. It didn't work. So I threw him off the building. Sometimes our emotions get the better of us.
Comparing slapping a man who's insulting you to throwing a man off a building for trying to prevent you from subjugating an entire planet.
X5, he obviously touched a nerve, right?
Continuing to call someone by a name they hate. Sure, he may have picked Brad, but it's still his choice.
Well, come on, you're the god of mischief.
Yeah, but he's also the god of changing into a horse and getting knocked up by a stallion. But nobody ever talks about that bit.
We're definitely getting desperate. And I'll be honest with you, we're down to our last option.
Wait, does that mean you only had 3 options to begin with? Because so far we've seen 2 attempts. Mobius asking nicely and Loki asking as threateningly as an English accent will allow. How are we now at the last option? Need I say it again? Loki has magic powers.
So guess what? I wrote a little script of my own.
Thing Edward Norton said while filming The Incredible Hulk somehow makes it into the episode. Oh well. Good on Marvel for not letting anything go to waste.
Mobius, get in here!
Why don't you just let him in yourself, Brad? There's nothing stopping you from opening the door and calling Loki's bluff. False tension attempt is dumb. Why is this scarier than anything Loki could summon with his mind powers? Isn't the beauty of his abilities that he could put Brad through any number of hideous scenarios without physically hurting him? I may need to reassess my definition of the word beauty.
Just tell me where Sylvie is, Brad.
Making Loki the protagonist of your TV show has always been strange given his problematic past, but I'm glad we're finally addressing that by watching him torture a man.
Why are you making it so hard on yourself, Brad?
That's actually not his fault. The script needed him to make it hard so we could TemPad the runtime to 40 minutes.
See? A little bit of mischief.
I mean, as good as your plan.
Mobius comes in and immediately gives away that he was in on Loki's plan all along, which lets Brad know he wasn't in any real danger. However, Brad ignores this and just continues to cooperate as if they hadn't just undermined their advantage for no reason.
You're
Ouroboros?
Did Hunter B-15 not explain who she was taking you to on the way down here? That's either a sin for her for not explaining or a sin on you for not paying attention. And since I have no idea which, I'll just have to sin both possibilities and risk creating a branch in the sacred sin line.
Will you sign mine for me? Of course I will. Happy to do it.
Yeah, just next to your picture.
Next to his picture? But we just saw him say,
Your Ouroboros?
as if he had no idea who he was looking at. Was the picture taken from behind?
So we have to convince a rogue artificial intelligence to come back to work?
Casey would be predictive at 2043 sins. It took me about 4 seconds of research to discover that Marvel actually worked with McDonald's to recreate this 1980s era restaurant. So instead of trying to fish out any nitpicky inconsistencies, here's a sin for McDonald's bankrolling a god that tried to murder a bunch of people in 2012. Does no one remember that time he ripped an eyeball out of an innocent man's head? Even blurred, I can see that this fountain soda machine has 3 options for Sprite, which is f***ing disgusting. Those buttons should be filled with High C, Fanta, and Diet Coke. Protocol dictates I assign 1 sin for each Sprite nozzle. Show makes me realize that this would have been the perfect f***ing time to bust out that Taylor Swift anti-hero gag instead of blowing it on Brad's setup earlier. Damn it, Brad!
My break's in 5 minutes.
Wow, good thing Loki and Mobius teleported there exactly 5 minutes before Sylvie's break. Can you imagine how awkward it would have been if they'd arrived after she'd had her break or wasn't working at all?
So you see the future now. Cool.
When you've literally been to the end of time itself, you don't get to be skeptical about something as minute as seeing the future. That should be like the most normal thing Loki has done up to this point.
You like it here? You like this place?
That's McDonald'sist. I mean, fair, but still.
And now here we are, enjoying a meal like gentlemen.
Well, you're enjoying a meal, but Brad only has a shake. For both of you to be enjoying a meal, he technically needs to have food as well. You could at least buy the guy some fries or nuggies.
It's not scary, it's elevated thriller, all right?
Using the phrase elevated thriller.
You're just gonna give everyone free will and walk away?
Well, it's better than taking their swimming pool ladder away and then giving them free will. Rest in peace, my Sims. Rest in peace.
You're gonna bomb every branch.
Yeah, including this one.
For a second there, I was so immersed in the world that I assumed Docs was declaring war specifically on McDonald's and destroying them one branch at a time. And the fact that I didn't immediately question that means some sort of shark has jumped one too many product placements.
Docs wasn't looking for Sylvie. She's gonna prune all the new branches.
She already is.
So to recap, the information that Mobius and Loki went through all of that trouble to discover is information that would have been revealed had they just stayed at the TVA and waited. Excellent. Glad I was here for the ride. 10 out of 10.
They've pruned 30% of the branches.
Show wants me to allocate my precious give a f***s to 30% of something it hasn't bothered to show me.
That's how they're bombing all the timelines at once. They're all connected to that central control panel.
She said with the confidence of someone who's examined this setup for much longer than the 3 seconds she's been here. Also, they aren't bombing them all at once, right? This graphic shows that they're gradually being picked off in succession. If the point of the machine is to destroy all the branches simultaneously, then which f***wit jumped the gun and blew up a branch that triggered the TVA? You should have waited till all the bombs were planted and then you're golden. I should not be better at destroying universes than Docs.
I'll distract him.
Okay, now that the fate of billions of lives are at stake, I'm sure Loki will start using his powers instead of... In the name of the All-Father, damn it, Loki, you're not Captain America. This is not why we love Loki.
Don't overthink it.
Overthink what? The fact that this machinery go bye-bye dusting should have been the power move you opened with?
Mobius, you should come back.
You better come back and take a look at this cliche. Portals that know exactly how long to stay open depending on the drama of the moment.
I'm going home. If it's still there.
Shouldn't your TVPad tell you if it's still there when you try to connect to your home? Like, is there a chance she just walks into f***ing oblivion? Oh, that's the thing that I totally remember that does the thing that I should be excited by. Yes, it was in the previously on, but you didn't tell me what it was or where it came from, damn it. Episode does not contain a Gugu and Botha Ra. If you think making the Marvels theme song out of an old-timey ragtime tune is enough to make me enjoy sitting through it, you're wrong. But pretty close, though. Nice try. In case you confused it with Chicago, Kansas. The ghost town, not the bands. Just to clarify. We never want a sin to be vague. Our nitpicking is always specific and never confusing, and it shall remain so.
Get back, someone will see you. You don't exactly blend in.
Neither do you. You're wearing trousers, heathen.
When he's back where he belongs, atop the TVA, you and I will be right by his side.
Well, sides. You can't both be right by his side because that implies you'd be standing on the same side and one of you would be physically closer than the other. So one will stand on the left and the other on the right, right? Right.
Well, how much time do we have?
OB will now pause for a second as he remembers they need to keep the countdown vague enough to stretch the pacing to fit 6 episodes. So you'll never know to the minute how much time is left. Just that they're in a perpetual state of about to die.
No one's gonna die.
Mispronouncing everyone.
Why would you go to the same place twice?
I don't know, because it's like 3 a.m. and you live in a small town, you're a little drunk, and Waffle House is the only thing open for like 100 miles. Is that a good enough reason for you, Loki? Not adding in Miss Minutes' legs. She has legs. Where's your sense of journalistic integrity, the Daily Chicago Press? You draw the subject of your front page story legless? Disrespectful.
You're a man of action, which is fine. I take a more slow, deliberate, cerebral approach.
Feels like this line was written by a staff member right after the Marvel execs called this season slow and cerebral. And turning Mobius into a self-insert is something that should be reserved for fan fiction. Specifically, my fan fiction, where he and Loki are dating. I call it Lokius, but only because Moby Dick was already taken somehow.
He could reduce an entire culture down to a simple diorama.
Winking at what you're doing doesn't make it better, Disney.
Then why they include Boulder? No one's even heard of him.
I have, and I've been patiently waiting for him to show up in the MCU. Honestly, not really worth the wait. I understand we need this visual clue so they can find Kang or whatever, but every other name on the list is a German musical performance. Why is Victor presenting here? Nothing about him or his invention is German. It has no ties to Germany. And there aren't even any other inventors on this sign. Make it make sense, Marvel.
Would you kindly open the bag?
Unless you want everyone freaking out, you stay in that bag until I tell you otherwise.
Okay, how does Miss Minutes work? How's she even contained by a bag? She's an advanced sentient AI capable of running the entire TVA, but now she's stuck in a bag? Is she attached to a micro projector?
Don't let them see you.
Even though I'm not sure why they need to hide, can't the man who makes all the illusions disguise himself in Mobius so Renslayer wouldn't recognize them? We already saw in Thor 2 when he turned Thor into Sif that Loki can project his illusions onto other people. Why does the Magic Man continue to not magic?
And just what would you know about the future, boy?
Racist hecklers who interrupt stage performers. Actually, just go ahead and throw us in there for the non-racist hecklers too.
With my device, the wattage Edison uses to light a single bulb can light the whole of Chicago!
Using your device to back Edison instead of Tesla. Didn't you watch The Prestige, Victor? Edison was a jerk. You don't want to help him.
Laugh it off as pure science fiction!
I would, but the term science fiction wasn't actually used until the 1920s. And since you haven't technically been to that decade yet, you shouldn't even know the phrase.
Welcome to the future, my friend!
He says as the entire machine starts sparking and goes out, but everyone keeps applauding, I guess. I should give them a break. They're probably bored as shit. What are they even doing with their lives besides dysentery? Also, why does Mobius look impressed? He nearly got skinned alive by the real version of this machine. It's like me going back in time and being impressed with a typewriter.
You can't trust a variant of He Who Remains in the TVA.
Yeah, that'd be like trusting the variant of Loki in the TVA. Huh. What happened in season 1 again? It's hard to tell what Bill Timely slipping his accomplice here, but I take issue with its singular nature. He just helped Timely make $1,000. He's getting ripped off.
How about we settle this outside?
Man, he stepped on your shoe. Since it's the 1800s, it's probably caked in horse shit anyway. Let it go. Hang on, Loki's powers up until this point have mostly been illusions. Now, sure, season 1 added dagger summoning and energy blast, but now he can straight up teleport people away? You can't just color whatever he does green and expect us to go, oh, that must be something Loki can do now. You need to set up some clear rules or limits to his powers. And it shouldn't include stepping on the toes of Kurt Wagner.
Mechanical trousers?
I know, Mobius. I'm shocked too. No one steals from Wallace and Gromit and gets away with it.
We have a He Who Remains variant.
Wait, if they're on the sacred timeline, can there be any variants present? Wouldn't this mean Timely is the original version and He Who Remains is the variant? Oh, wait. My bad. I actually don't give a shit.
But if the loom fails and the TVA is destroyed, there won't be a life to go back to.
Is this confirmed? I thought He Who Remains put together the TVA to stop his variants from popping up, not to save all of time itself. Though maybe that's one and the same, or maybe I still don't give a shit.
Can I play the you tried to kill me card?
Mobius, you and I both know that depends entirely on how much mana you have free on the field. Check and see what you have tapped. I'm not teaching you how to play this game again.
If you and the TVA hadn't messed with him, he'd have remained harmless.
Not necessarily. Kang could have had 1,000 other plans to reactivate him. Or maybe he would have found a way to time travel and figure things out on his own. There's just no way to know he'd be harmless for sure. I ask again, how does Ms. Minutes work? Are her footsteps causing the sound, or is she broadcasting what they should sound like? And is she a projection, or does she have some kind of hard light physical form because she's tearing down this banner now? Just what are the rules with her? And it. I actually do give a shit.
It can go down to 40 degrees.
Wow. 40 degrees, you say? That's practically summer temps when you're in the middle of a windy city winter. Chicago winters. It took 2 minutes to almost lose the upper half of my ears to frostbite just getting off the L.
A refrigerator chair.
Yeah, refrigerator chair. I want one of these now. Why is he selling Go-Go Gadget pants instead of these things? Refrigerators haven't even been invented yet.
I'm here because I know what a great man you can become.
I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable. I mean, I'm sure they won't, but if the writers do go down the path of a Miss Minutes romance, I feel obligated to warn you, that's worth an automatic 24 sins, one for each hour of the day. We had to stop encouraging appliance romances after Jeremy started getting a little too into his Brave Little Toaster fanfic.
He switches sides. It's a well-documented behavioral trait.
Show thinks we'll take a sin off for this obvious nod to Loki's history in the MCU, and Show underestimates how tired we are of self-referential humor. Now eat an apple or something already, jeez.
I do all my sales in Chicago, but my lab is in Wisconsin.
But earlier you said your lab was
across the lake.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're crossing Lake Michigan from Chicago, you're arriving in Michigan. In fact, I can show you exactly where on my left hand. His face looks a lot worse now than it did in the cabin earlier. Remember when Loki did cool stuff besides just generically blasting people with green particle effects? Remember in season 1 when Richard E. Grant made that super cool city illusion to distract the giant smoke monster? I miss that. This is the Loki equivalent of an old man Neo from Matrix Resurrections. Just kind of blows people back with his powers or whatever.
This way.
Away from their hiding spot, even though they have no reason to move from this spot while they wait for the trace. Maybe they're leaving for more snacks?
Excuse me? Oh, excuse me.
Continually cutting in line. I wonder if it's because he's obsessed with controlling time and even doing little things like cutting in line makes him feel like he's in control of the way time flows around him. Or maybe he's just a prick. And now the shore appears to be going by them on the starboard side, which means they're going south towards Indiana instead of north towards Wisconsin, like he said. You're going to end up in Gary, Indiana, the place that proves you should never name a city the same thing you'd name a male child born in 1947.
You brought it to him the way the postman brings the post.
No, she didn't. The book she delivered wasn't bent in half and crammed under my door, half chewed by a dog.
I always knew my ideas were good. I just didn't have the technology to make them really work.
I also don't think you had the basic fundamentals of advanced mathematics and physics to be able to understand anything in that book, but what do I know? Definitely not advanced mathematics or physics is the answer. Betrayed by your allies, dropped into the middle of a lake while you're sleeping and not a single curse word? I'm not buying it. And she instantly starts rowing? She's so determined. I mean, look at how hard she's rowing. I don't want anything in life bad enough to row that hard. Hell, I don't even want to not be stranded in the middle of a lake bad enough to row that hard. I'm sitting this because it makes me question my own lack of ambition.
I have a seat, float.
Offering your sentient AI an ice cream float when you know she can't taste or touch the magic that is ice cream. Or can she?
You're so much like him.
Well, yeah, kind of is him, or will be. Aren't AI supposed to be smart?
Is there a sketch of me in that journal of yours?
This entire paint me like one of your French horloge bullshit.
Why didn't you allow me a real body?
Clock blocking your clock tease.
Put that down. Don't do this. We're a team. You need me. I love you.
So Timely shuts her down, but how? She has a remote and an off switch? Then how does she operate independently? When Ravonna got to Chicago in the beginning of the episode, Ms. Minutes was waiting for her, right? Where was her remote then? The fact that I'm spending multiple sins trying to figure out exactly what turns on a clock in both senses of the word was not on my Marvel bingo card today. Who enters a secret lab like that? You're not going to scope out the place first? Make use of a little stealth? You're just going to go full Kramer? You never go full Kramer.
Move any closer, and he's done.
I mean, not really. If you prune him, he'll just be spit out at the end of time. And we've already seen that area can be easily accessed with a tempad. So kind of an empty threat, Renslayer.
We've all lost our way, but someone has to keep track of the big picture here.
Plea from the screenwriters to Kevin Feige somehow makes its way into the episode.
I suppose I've been a box you've been wanting to tick for a long time.
I mean, she did tick your box in season 1, right? Why can't I remember season 1 at all? Hold on. How the did Renslayer get this back from Victor? He was the one who imprisoned Ms. Minutes. Did Paul Rudd teach her sleight of hand? Also, you stranded her at the end of time, but you didn't check her for a tempad? How dumb are you, Sylvie? So you can just pop back anywhere with that little device. This is like my mom grounding me from my N64, but forgetting I have a Game Boy in my backpack. Starting first thing with an epileptic water slide. Everything's tasting turquoise.
What is this?
Just watch.
Marvel's entire television strategy somehow makes it into the episode.
Hey, boss. Fancy a game of chess?
Chess. We get it. You want us to know it's a smart person, so you show us chess. Just once I'd like to see a genius bust out Clue or Mousetrap.
You didn't just help. It was you who commanded the army.
Wow, Renslayer leading an army during a time war. That sounds really cool. I'm glad we just get to see people talk about it for a few seconds instead of the actual conflict. Really saved us some time we might have spent enjoying something. Did they not teleport back to the TVA together at the end of the last episode? Why is Victor wandering around unescorted? Letting a mad scientist roam around your high-tech facility unsupervised seems like a good way to turn said mad scientist into a cosmic-level threat.
Is that my loom?
And you're the only one who can help us fix it.
Well, not the only one. He does have like thousands of other variants who could all take a whack at it too. This is just the only other Kang this series is bothered with. What are the people working on in the background here? The TVA basically stopped doing its job. Why do they all look so busy?
So I built all of this. Or I did. Well, or I will, and I did.
Being self-aware of your own timey-wimey BS doesn't make it any less B or S.
But I learned everything I know from a brilliant 19th century inventor named Victor Timely.
So Victor taught OB everything he knows, but everything Victor knows came from a TVA handbook that he was given by Renslayer. And she was sent to deliver the book by an AI created by He Who Remains, which is a future version of Victor, maybe? Usually if I'm expected to excuse a bunch of time nanigans, it comes from a more charming person like David Tennant. And as Disney already wasted him on Ahsoka, I'm left with no excuse but to sin all this nonsense.
Mr. Ouroboros, would you inscribe my handbook?
Only if you inscribe mine.
Show about running out of time somehow does not run out of time for this.
Integrating them, if that would even work, would take a long time.
So why not just go back to the past where you have plenty of time, assemble it, and then bring it back to the present? Why does this show forget how accessible time travel is to these people?
You dragged me back here, begging for help.
No, they did not. You let them take Victor and then they left. No begging took place at all. In fact, it's a wonder you even returned to the TVA when you've shown no interest or help in solving their biggest problem.
I don't want to die in here.
Well, it seemed like you gave up when you sold out our plan.
How did he give up? You sold out your plan with the understanding Mobius and Loki would return him to the sacred timeline to be an actor. It's not giving up. That's cutting a deal for self-preservation. The very opposite of giving up, actually.
I earned my life.
Sure, Brad, but how did you earn this much screen time, though? I'm genuinely curious. Two people just stepping into a cell filled with prisoners. You're just begging for a jailbreak. I know they all have collars on, but I forget what those even do, and I refuse to look it up.
If we have to fight to defend this place, from Renslayer or worse, can we trust you?
No offense to Doc, Brad, or the Minutemen, but I don't really care about what happens to them. This all just feels like a writer's room forcing a B-plot in order to fill a hole in the show. And forcing things into holes can be painful.
I took a wrong turn. Didn't plan on coming to Pieland.
At least Pieland's a real place. I was once told I'd win a trip to Cake Land, and that turned out all to be a lie. Fucking Gladys. Are all of these pies key lime? No apple, no blueberry, no chocolate or pumpkin? Hell, I'd even take a strawberry rhubarb to get some variety up in here.
You're only here because you couldn't kill him.
That's pretty faulty logic. If she couldn't kill Victor, what's being in the TVA change? Is she hoping to work up the courage to kill him later? Kinda seems like the show's just looking for an excuse to keep another Loki around.
All those dead branches, those dead people. That's the TVA's fault.
What about those branches?
I'm really struggling to care about those branches because the season didn't bother to show us any of those people disappearing so we could witness how devastating it is to lose those timelines. Once again, this show fast forwards through an interesting concept so two characters can mention it in passing and move on to the next MCU plot point.
Sounds like whatever we do, we're playing God.
We are gods.
Loki isn't donning a pair of shades as the Who plays after that line.
And you. This is really disappointing, I must say.
I know, I'm working on myself.
Okay, I love Miss Minutes. Sure, she gets a bit creepy, but her bless your heart, and what I mean by that is f you attitude really resonates with me. You have full-on time technology, and the best way you can think of to torture and kill people is through a shrinking cube? What was the goal? To do it in the messiest way possible or the most inefficient? Kudos on somehow accomplishing both. Also, again, my problem with this scene is that all of the Minutemen seem irrelevant, voiceless, and almost indifferent. They're just background to make this scene more horrific. The only real character being killed here is Dox. And after 4 episodes, I'm honestly not sure she even counts.
Spectacular.
Yeah, it is spectacular that the device you designed had a perfect opening for Victor's little part you didn't know existed 10 minutes ago. Wait, is spectacular a synonym for bullshit? I get confused sometimes.
You have a machine for that.
The man who invented a machine to process multiple timelines across reality is suddenly surprised there's another machine that heats chocolate powder and makes it taste like poop in a cup. Yeah, I said it. Hot cocoa's a stupid beverage. You want some chocolate? Eat a f***ing candy bar. In fact, hot cocoa tastes like a ranch. Show about running out of time somehow doesn't run out of time for this. How did Timely not see Brad sneak up on them before he turned around? Is Bradley Batman? Sorry, wrong universe. Is Bradley the Flash? That hot cocoa is lukewarm by now at best. And if you thought hot chocolate was bad, wait till I tell you about lukewarm chocolate. Stealing your plot and dialogue from Dennis Nedry. And you'd best be careful about pissing him off. When you control the mail, you control information.
It's gotta be Renslayer.
Oh no, if only you hadn't stranded her at the end of time with a device that would allow her to immediately open a portal and return to the TVA.
And right now, you're gonna tell us where to find your device.
Why do they want the device though? It's obvious Loki and Mobius brought Timely to the TVA to fix the loom. Shouldn't they just stand back and wait for them to finish and then take control? Is that not a good idea, or am I just really lazy?
She's trying to slow us down.
Take the stairs!
Forcing Hulk to take the stairs at Endgame was what started this entire series. Do we really want to risk sending Loki to do the exact same thing? What if he causes more rifts that become mediocre Disney Plus series? This works. Called it. And when even I can call it, it's definitely a sin.
I promise you this will make sense.
It will not.
I'm being locked out.
You're an all-knowing AI, so why didn't you lock everyone's admin access except for your own when you gained control of the system? Why are intelligent characters written to make such dumb mistakes?
I need to tell you. You'll never be him.
Stating the obvious. Nobody can be him except for him. Not Majojo, not the Rowdy Rough Boys, not the Amoeba Boys. They all pale in comparison of how creepy him was. And Victor certainly can't hope to compete with such a scary villain. I'm a grown-ass adult with a mortgage and him still terrifies me to this day. What were we talking about again? Evil rogue AI defeated by turning it off and on again.
That's new.
Is it? The lights have been flickering on and off for about 4? Yep, 4 episodes now.
Go.
Go? Go where? Is there a fuse box on that floor that he knows about? Or are you getting rid of your muscle just because the lights went out? That's the second time in 2 episodes Renslayer has been sent to the end of time. It's almost like the whole pruning thing is completely meaningless as punishment.
We have to move fast.
Fast, or slowly get another cup of hot chocolate fast? I want to know how prepared I should be for actual excitement. That's the face of a man realizing he probably should have used his magic in some way or another.
Temporal radiation is just too high.
You are the last person who should be surprised by that. Wow, gutsy move on Marvel's part to end a season finale with the protagonist losing and everyone dying. I might have to rethink my earlier criticism and what's that? There's still 2 more episodes. Damn it! Spooky music makes me wonder if I'm still watching Loki, or if I've somehow switched to watching a Blumhouse production sequel that's come back from the future to tell us no one asked for it. I'm honestly not sure which I'd rather be watching. I guess it depends on the film. Exorcist 3, this time with more peas? No. Buy 5 Nights at Freddy's, get the 6th one for free? Still no. The time explosion from the previous episode seems to have just erased all the people, and the only possible explanation at this point seems to be time works like that here. But what is time? And what is that? And what is here? Stay tuned for mostly non-answers to those questions and more. Loki will then go on to assess the damage by checking only the most important places, like all the curved hallways and the automat. Was the goal to bring us back to this control room so many times this season that in the end we'd be happy to see it turned into spaghetti? This fake not Casey works for any amount of the concept formerly known as time. I'm just realizing that in every timeline we visited in this series, the cities all have names we're familiar with. And I didn't know I needed it till now, but damn it, I want Nanor and Risco Olafoldage. Revealing Casey as one of the 3 men who may have successfully escaped Alcatraz in 1962, but failing to throw proper shade at the 4th inmate who fumbled the ball so hard that he didn't even make it out of his cell. That's Alan West erasure, and you can bet your Alcatraz that I won't stand for it, even if he would prefer that not be his legacy.
If they catch us, they're gonna cut us like fish.
Fun fact, Alcatraz started off rough, but in the 50s, things had softened quite a bit. Prisoners could play musical instruments, watch movies on weekends, paint, and listen to the radio. Now, if you'd attempted this escape in the 1930s, maybe, but in 1962, no chance.
Casey, thank God you're here.
Is Casey here? I can't see Is this scene about escaping Alcatraz or fighting ice zombies outside Winterfell?
Who are you?
Who am I? Casey, it's me. Please tell me you know who I am.
This show has been about time travel, multiverses, and variants the entire time. Why is this so baffling for the God of Mischief? Not letting us know how many Big Macs you need to shell out for this much screen time. Unfortunately, since it's upside down from your patient's perspective, this is basically useless. Just like all those Herbalife products I bought to sell in 2009. I'm in so much f***ing debt.
Well, they say the personal watercraft is kind of the thinking man's dirt bike.
They are dumb.
Come on, you ready for your Poseidon moment?
Introducing the Olympians into the MCU with his lazy-ass Easter egg, thinking we'd enjoy this wacky-waving, inflatable arm-flailing Asgardian more than answers about what the f*** is going on.
I think you mean ATV, and no, you're in luck. We got in 2 of them last week.
Okay, so why weren't you trying to sell one of your ATVs to the guy who was
more interested in a dirt bike?
Sure, it's not the same as a dirt bike, but it has infinitely more wheels than a Sea-Doo. This bookshelf has not been organized by title, author, or genre, and there are 2 copies of Ghost Rider not even next to each other. Heathens!
Science fiction is a well-respected and thought-provoking genre.
Well, nobody buys it here.
Are you sure? In 1994, nobody's buying Isaac Asimov or Ursula K. Le Guin. You run a bookstore, but nobody's buying Michael Crichton novels. I call bullshit. It's those post-it notes from the end credits. That must mean... Wait, why am I supposed to care about any of this? Since Obi's workshop is also on a lower level of the TVA building, this means it has to be located somewhere near Pasadena. And we will never discuss why or how that's even possible.
What I'm about to tell you is going to be hard to believe.
Why? You going to tell me that Marvel blew $250 million on a Samuel L. Jackson-led spy thriller series and it kind of sucked?
I have to get a PhD to keep my day job teaching theoretical physics at Caltech.
Ain't no way you're affording rent on this giant-ass hangar and paying for an independent printing of your books on an adjunct professor's salary. It's the biggest piece of fiction in this science fiction series. You couldn't even afford the power bill for this place on that kind of salary.
I don't understand what you've just said.
Loki is everyone watching this episode at TVSins.
With science, it's all what and how. But with fiction, it's why.
Scene does not contain a who, and I don't know, an Abbott and or a Costello.
If I can't save the TVA from being destroyed, there will be nothing to protect against what's coming.
What is coming exactly? I'm pretty sure it was mentioned somewhere between 30 seconds and 400 years ago, but I may have been tying my shoe at the time.
If that's the real why that's guiding you, you should be able to control it.
Not since Doctor Strange told America to just believe in herself and control her interdimensional powers have I seen such a believable moment of someone trying to use a new ability in the MCU. Also, I'm not sure if it's a literal or metaphorical abyss that this show's creating, but I can feel it staring at me.
But then you said you also time travel in a place at the TVA, right? If that's the case, then maybe the place and time you're looking for still exists, but you just don't know where to look for it.
Show's now circled back to discussing whether or not time works like that, and I'm realizing Mobius strips might not be as fun as I initially thought.
Hold this.
Yeah?
We get the band back together.
That doesn't seem very scientific.
They've certainly used a lot of temporal fabric to weave this story in a direction that allows science to just not matter. But if science doesn't matter, then matter doesn't matter, and if matter doesn't matter, then the fact of the matter is...
That means a group of people would have a collective aura unique to that moment in time.
This plan didn't require a mug and pins to make it any less understandable.
What if he had that knowledge?
That's twice now plot points in this season have centered around someone from the TVA traveling to the past to deliver a handbook to an inventor who will then use that knowledge to invent a time gizmo. And that's officially too far past the line of timey-wimey bullshit for me to tolerate without a TARDIS.
How did he get burnt?
Kids.
And if you keep him from burning down the house, I'll get you a puppy.
Using a puppy as a motivational reward when you're at work every single day and your 2 boys can't even be bothered to pick up their toys in the yard. The poor animal will grow up neglected.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't dream of parting with one of these beauties, but wife is long gone and I can't ride 2 of them.
Show fails to specify if Mobius' wife is dead or divorced or both. And I'm going to need to know that so my fan fiction can be as lore accurate as possible.
How did you build a temp pad so fast?
It's time travel, Loki. It's been f***ing time travel the entire time. Also, Loki should be much more interested in the fact that Dr. Doug found this place, and this time without an Apple Aura tag.
I had to take a break and move out when I lost my job and my wife left me.
Okay, but finishing a device that allows time travel should allow you to get those two things back theoretically, right? I mean, I'd take an ex-partner back if they showed me a functioning time machine. I am pretty easy to please, though. I once got back together with an ex because they brought me Olive Garden.
I promise you this will make sense.
I do not believe you.
I can bring you back to any point in time. It'll be like you never left. Your boys won't even know you're gone.
Loki leaves out the possibility of becoming pasta and how that might make returning a little difficult.
Of course I know who you are.
What? You do?
Why wouldn't I?
Because nobody else did.
Show will not even attempt to explain how Sylvie managed to retain her memories even though she wasn't the Loki chosen to do the electrical time slip and slide. Would have expected a show about a god to contain more omniscience and fewer omissions. And I crave understanding more than I crave Easter eggs.
Mobius always said the TVA was the only life he'd ever known, and he liked it.
Loki says F you to the allegory of the cave. Plato is very disappointed.
He who remains did that.
Damn, that name's a mouthful. How have they not given him a nickname with fewer syllables yet? I don't know. Something simple like Carl, maybe. Loki looking good in a shirt and tie cliche. How in the name of no one was operating the temp computer did that time door just open? We'll hear Oh Sweet Nothing when Sylvie starts playing this record, even though she'll drop the needle on the first song, and we can see it listed as the last one on this side of the record. And to be clear, any universe with tracks listed in reverse order would be sent accordingly as well. Also, this might be the best scene in the entire season thus far. Sylvie kicks back as she tries to put her mind at ease listening to a fantastic song from Velvet Underground. All the while, the universe is imploding around her. It's visually awesome and poetic. I guess even a broken timeline's right once an episode. Go ahead, take your sin back.
You're all just fine without it.
No, they aren't.
Sylvie, there's no possible way for you to have any idea what they're talking about. Unless this is your second attempt at this entrance and you're now just making unnecessary time branches for the sake of dramatic timing. As we watch all these characters turn into human koosh balls, the episode wants us to feel something about their second disappearance in 2 episodes when that fact alone means there's a good chance that they're coming back. The true loss would have been if we got to experience more than just a day in the life of OB, Mobius, and Hunter B-15, so we fully understood what they were sacrificing to be here. Or with Casey, there's a strong chance he was just going to die in the San Francisco Bay anyway. What if his abduction into the TVA saved his life? There was so much more to be mined from this story that got left on the scriptural loom. His knees are weak, his palms are sweaty. Something time spaghetti. Horrifying, thanks. I don't care how much of a zaddy Tom Hiddleston is. You unhinge someone's jaw like that without warning, and I'll be seeing that image when I'm trying to sleep at 3 a.m.
It's not about where, when, or why. It's about who.
The first baseman?
The temporal radiation is just too high.
If only you had a couple gods in the room with you that could maybe endure the radiation a little better. Or you could invent a robot that could take it out itself. That would work too. I'm just saying you have options, other than this tiresome timely trudge. Wait, are they now trying to pull a repeat the day till you get it right in a time travel property cliche? I gotta check the official TVS handbook on this one to see if this is even allowed. All right, let's see here. And no, this is illegal. Man, it looks like the required price is 3 sins. But instead of all at once, you have to experience them in succession. But instead of simultaneously, you have to experience them consecutively. But instead of contemporary.
Miss Minutes, I know right now you're hurt and you're angry, but we need your help in finishing the throughput multiplier fast.
Doesn't this kind of trivialize all of episode 4, which at the time was a high-stakes and tension-filled episode? Are you saying that whole conflict could have been solved by talking? Gross.
I wasted time and now does time waste me?
Sorry, Loki, but the quote is actually, I wasted time, now doth time waste me. Don't test me in English lit. No, really, don't test me. I got straight C's.
The TVA handbook? You both wrote it. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, thanks for reminding me that this bookstrap paradox makes no sense. You took an already existing book that OB wrote back in time to Victor so he could become Kang and someday also write the book? And then OB said he learned everything he knew from Victor, but we never even see that happen. And as I've already got a headache from banging my head on the pie vending machine that ate my last few quarters, I'm not in the right mental space for these time shenanigans.
You will wear this protective suit.
Actually, given that we've already seen Victor dissolve like 10 times, I'm going to suggest we change the name to Unprotective Suit.
How long would it take?
Decades.
centuries.
Look, I'm not saying that Timely is on OB's level, but he's not far off, right? And it didn't take him centuries to learn what he did. All it took was about 3 decades in a manual.
It's him. It's you. You volunteer.
He is so obviously now in a Groundhog Day situation that it bothers me no one's calling it out. Just a quick, hey man, are you Groundhog Daying? Would do the trick just fine.
What the shit are you doing?
Wasting the few chances you get to swear on an unfunny line like this. Damn it, if you can only curse once, make sure it counts, Mr. Guy.
Hang on! This all seems a bit rushed.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you artificially cap all your seasons at 6 or 8 episodes. Character development and narrative arcs all get super compressed and rushed. Metal seems impervious to the temporal radiation, so why not make a suit out of mostly metal? Also, that gangway's lack of handrails cannot be up to code, so don't let the TVA version of Asaha find out. That's right, I said Asaha. Blame the hard G GIF lobby who insists you have to pronounce the letters like the words they stand for. So what exactly is the purpose of this machine? Just to launch things into the loom? Because it was already here waiting for OB and the others to use, which would imply they launch other stuff into the loom as well. And if you have to launch stuff into the loom occasionally, why aren't you just launching them from the control room?
Pumpkins.
Scene does not contain Tom Hanks asking if there are any questions.
It worked.
I know Loki's been working on this for centuries, so this is likely a record for the most work anyone has ever put in before still committing a premature celebration sin. Congrats to all involved.
You can't scale for infinite.
This is all sci-fi mumbo-jumbo bullshit, naturally, and I have no idea if this is true, but shouldn't OB or Loki, who have literally worked with made-up time math for centuries, already have known this?
It's almost as if, as soon as the timeline started branching, this was doomed to happen.
Or, to put this in scientific terms, if what's currently happening is represented by a constant on a line graph, the constant is now intersecting with the x-axis of f***ing around and the y-axis of finding out.
I've been where you are.
Oh, really? Have you also been about to push the button labeled skip?
I can't be trusted. You have to believe me.
Send mixed messages much? At least put a sentence or two between your contradictory statements.
You've been seduced by a throne.
Yeah, been there, my friend. I too was seduced by a throne for about 6 seasons. But I'm here to tell you that path ends in disappointment and gnashing of teeth. It's not worth it, Loki. F***ing season 8.
Not what you were expecting,
And the director said, eat an apple in this scene. It'll make you look like... Hold on. Did we send this back in season 1? I think we did. Can I send the same thing twice? Oh, right. Groundhog Day.
So, how many times have you been at this?
Nice try, show, but I'm not doing your homework for you. If you lost track on how many times you made Loki do something, that's kind of on you. I'm just a semi-passive observer on YouTube here to nitpick every little thing you do or don't do.
We die with the dying. We're born with the dead.
Not so fast. The actual line from the T.S. Eliot poem Little Gidding is, we die with the dying, see they depart, and we go with them, we are born with the dead. See they return and bring us with them. Can't just pick and choose. That's how internet rumors start. Also, stop quoting classic literature in my comic book show. I want to watch TV, not Google.
I was here, alone, at the end of time.
But you weren't alone, dude. We've seen flashbacks where you had Renslayer and Miss Minutes by your side. Hell, you could literally pluck any variant from any branch timeline and bring them to you for company, too. You're alone by choice, my man.
I made the tough choices. That's why I get the big chair.
Honestly, your chair isn't that big. It's just kind of a normal-sized chair. No need to overcompensate.
Mobius, I need your help.
Well, I'm listening.
Even if all the time nonsense is a bit much, the show bringing it back to a conversation between Owen and Tom here makes it worthwhile. Pour a sin out for the last we might get of Loki and Mobius, one of the greatest TV duos ever. Who the f*** let M. Night Shyamalan in here to do these close-ups? Can someone tell the camera person there's a zoom out button? Overly conveniently timed, emotionally manipulative spaghettification.
Not giving you my blessing if that's what you're waiting for.
Man, I don't want to die, but if an action I made in the past caused all of time to cease, maybe I would be open to it. Maybe. I mean, don't quote me on it or go back in time and kill me as a baby. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
I grew up in apocalypses, Loki. I've lived through enough of them to know that sometimes it's okay to destroy something.
So now Sylvie's argument is, if you can't save all the timelines, then they should all be destroyed, including the sacred timeline? Can someone in the comments help me understand this? But make your explanation as demeaning as possible. I want to feel really stupid reading it. Thanks in advance. Damn it! If this scene ends with Loki dying on one side of the glass and Mobius on the other as they line up their hands, I will go full con on this show. I'll do it, I swear I will.
get out there.
Loki just displayed the magical ability to open locked doors. As his identical being from another timeline, can't you do the same thing with the even smaller green doors in front of you? Are you telling me he could just walk out there without the suit this entire time? Magically appearing superhero costumes that replace disappearing clothing. I mean, I only sin it for the convenience. Okay, I mostly sin it for the convenience. Okay, fine, the convenience was just an excuse to sin it. Is this whole scene cool because he grew horns or because he has horns? I want horns. Also, I may just be horny. 11 screaming while using her powers cliche. Oh, sorry, wrong show. Well, too late now. Getting raw time everywhere. Just look at this mess. This is why you should always have some towels nearby for after your series reaches its climax. Making a badass outfit complete with horns, but still choosing to wear loafers. Okay, I know I've given this season a lot of sins, but Loki ascending from puny god to benevolent god of time is such a wild and satisfying conclusion to his glorious purpose sit on a throne character arc that I stand in awe. This is one of the best single episodes of television Marvel has made yet. And I'm going to go ahead and give back one last sin while I try to locate where my jaw rolled after it hit the floor. You might think I'd be too impressed to sin the timelines becoming the Yggdrasil tree, but the truth is now Loki is just showing off. We don't take kindly to showboating around these parts. At TVSins, you do the bare minimum to get by and not one iota more. Obviously, well, given the show, maybe not obviously, but highly probable. Still a complete waste of a title card though. B-15 entering through what is clearly marked as an exit. An exit that has unhelpful gibberish printed on it, and an exit sign that is not even lit. This may be the most sinful door in MCU history.
Hey, y'all. I'm Miss Minutes.
Really? They brought back the Psycho AI? You know what? I'll just say it. I'd rather have Clippy.
Casey said he's gonna get these taken down.
Guy gets one promotion and suddenly thinks he gets to start redecorating, huh?
Those who do not remember the past are,
Not remembering a phrase about remembering things.
You think the TVA is gonna miss a tired, washed-up old analyst with a heart of gold?
Mobius, who previously said, "I've never known a life outside the TVA," and added that it gave him purpose, will now depart after Loki leaves. Not necessarily because the character wants it, but because they think the audience wants it. You don't know what I want, Marvel. There are way too many people in this meeting that could have been an email. I won't lie, I forgot Renslayer even existed. And sure, she was awful, but not so awful I needed to be shown her about to be eaten by Eliath. But wait, I hear you asking, is it really Eliath? Let me stop you right there, I don't care.
I might just wait here for a little bit.
Instead of finding a timeline where Mobius's children don't have a dad and going there to fill that void, Mobius chooses to instead creepily stare at his counterpart for a while. Is he gonna go full single white Moby male and take over his own life in season 3? Loki, how's the time peeping? How's the time peeping, Loki? Loki. Now that this series is more than likely over, I just want to proudly say I never paid any attention to these credits. I glean nothing from them and I miss nothing. But there's a part of me, albeit a small one, that's gonna miss willfully ignoring them. It's been a ride.
Diana, are you a time traveler?
You just had an accident.
Yes, I know. I just had an accident, you daffy bastard.
Jet skis, sea-doos. One of these calling your name, Mobius?
I don't know about calling.
Because I ran my jet ski into a Chipotle.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Oh, the sky's falling, Mobius. This changes everything.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Liv, what's the quality of life with no skin?
Little cold, little hungry.
We're having power surges all through the TVA.
Did you just say to me?
Is it arrogant if you can back it up?
Well, can he back it up?
Yeah.
That's scary.
He's all Riverdance all the time.
A little over the top, don't you think, all the shadow play?
I'm Ozzy Osbourne, and I'm the Prince of Darkness.
Do you have any idea what kind of life you might have left behind?
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home?
Kiwi? You said it was a key lime pie.
No, I didn't. I said kiwi lime. That's what makes it so special.
That's what's gonna kill me.
I wrote a little script of my own.
It's called Get Up.
You're Ouroboros?
Yes?
I love how you program subroutines. It's breathtaking. It feels so good to say it.
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
Oh, man, they got the metric system. They wouldn't know what the a quarter pounder is.
enjoying a meal like gentlemen.
Nothing beats 2 cheeseburgers with secret sauce.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow!
A book about me? I'll be a star! I regret nothing except this part.
But there was one whim you never allowed me. Why didn't you allow me a real body?
I knew it. You're trying to seduce me.
So we forgive and forget.
You want forgiveness? Get religion.
All right. What's the plan?
All day, I don't know what the heck is going on, but somehow this feels like it's all my fault.
How does it feel, knowing that all of us here would rather die than follow you out that door?
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all!
Look at me.
Look at me!
It was me!
Oh, that's not right.
Who are you? Who am I? That's the real question, isn't it? Who am I? Who are you?
Ah, one of those guys.
Reality isn't what you think it is.
You've been living in a dream world, Neo.
What were you calling me?
The moron.
I want a life. I want to live.
I'm Captain King!
We're all writing our own stories now.
Now go create yours.
What about the TVA?
TVA.
I miss the idea of it.
The pens. We have all the pens.
You should write a book.
I did it.
What?
Poop my pants.
I know this sounds strange.
Maybe. Who am I to judge?
I finally learned to control the time.
You let them know I'll be up in a moment.
I'll do you one better.
Why is Gamora?
Obi, how long will it take me to know everything that you know about mechanics, physics, and engineering?
Very long.
Let's assume I don't know much, but I'm a fast learner, and I'm a god.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.